Let's welcome on their coach, Coach Thomas Hammock, who's kind enough to join us right now. Coach, I saw you smiling when we were playing Andy's call. I would ask you how you're doing, but that's the dumbest question that I could ask you because I think I know the answer to that, so we appreciate you coming on.
No, thanks for having me. And Andy is a great friend of mine. And to hear that call, you can hear the passion in his voice. He wanted to be the play-by-play guy for NIU, and I'm glad he was able to have that moment.
Well, it was a wonderful moment indeed. So we heard Andy's call. Now give me your take. When that ball is about to get kicked, it's a 62-yard field goal. You know you're either going to have elation, euphoria, you win, or it's going to be absolute heartbreak. When the kick is obviously doesn't get there, just how did you kind of process that and what was going through your mind?
I couldn't believe it. At first, I was trying to figure out how long was the kick. I was like, that's a long ways. So I was trying to, what are the percentages of this guy making this kick? You try to think about all those scenarios. And obviously, when we blocked it, it took a lot of the pressure off that you didn't have to sit and hold your breath. We got on it, we got down, and it was just an unbelievable feeling to win that game in the fashion that we did.
When did it hit you? Like in the moment, I'm sure it's all a blur, but when was the moment that you got a chance to like catch your breath and go, wow, this isn't a dream, this is reality for your program?
I think when I did the post-game interview, I'm normally not an emotional guy like that. And, I just felt a wave of emotions in that moment. I saw our players running down to our fans and thanking them for coming. And it just took me back to all the steps we had to take to help build this program to what it is now, all the players and coaches that were key pieces. And I was just flushed with a wave of emotion that was hard to explain. And that was the moment that it hit me.
I know we're only a few weeks into the season, but it's my favorite moment of the season so far was your post-game interview with NBC, just with the emotion that overtook you. I know this is your school. You played for them. You've been the head coach, obviously, for the last few years. But something that really stuck with me is you hear a lot of times, coaches say, oh, these players, they're like my family, they're like my sons. But to see the emotion you displayed, it really speaks to the family atmosphere that you've been able to create at NIU.
I think that's real and authentic to us. We obviously don't have some of the resources like other places, but what we do have is love, and we love our players. We take care of them. I look after them no different than I would look after my own son, and I mean that. And I hate that cliche when coaches say that and they don't follow through with that. And so I'm on my coaches all the time. Don't tell me this guy's like your son, and then you don't treat him as you would treat your own son. And that's important to me. I know what transactional relationships look like. I spent 5 years in the National Football League, and I wanted this place to be different. NIU helped mold me into who I am today, and I want to have that same type of impact on the people in our program.
Coach Thomas Hammock with us. That's the MAC's first victory against a top 5 team. Your program's first victory against a top 10 team. And now you guys are ranked at 25 in the country. When you hear all those numbers, I know you still have a lot of season left, but to notice what you guys accomplished, just what does that mean when you hear all those stats riled off?
Well, it just means we are continuing along the process of what we thought we could become. We have a very senior veteran team that understands every day is a new day to prove who you are and what you're about, and they're continuing that process. We went into that game very confident and thought if we played well, we would have a chance to compete at a high level, and a couple plays went our way, and we was able to win. But now we got to continue to move forward, and our players understand that. The leadership on our team understands that, and we got 32 seniors that if you want to have the type of season you want to have and lead this program with a legacy, you need to continue to work.
How did you get your team to easily buy in? Because sometimes when you go up against a program like Notre Dame, who was ranked in the top 5, sometimes players, they get spooked out a little bit before the game and they're a little bit nervous, and then they have too many mistakes early on.
Well, you got to study history. We played Utah in 2019. That was a really good football team that we played, and they beat us up pretty good. And then we played Michigan in 2021, and it was the best team I've seen on tape. And so we've had experiences with these type of opponents. When I watched Notre Dame this year, I thought we matched up well. And that's a testament to our offensive and defensive line. Normally those games come down to the trenches. And if you can withstand the punishment and the physicality of the game. And I felt like we are deep at those two positions, and we will have a chance to compete with them.
What did you say to your team after the game, just wonder, when you had a moment in the locker room with them?
I told them, I told you guys we didn't need luck, and that was validated through your performance. And so for them to get that reward was an outstanding moment and a memory that will last the rest of their life.
Coach Thomas Hammock here with us, Northern Illinois head coach, as they defeat Notre Dame. You know, when a monumental upset like this happens, a lot of people just ask, you know, how did Notre Dame allow this to happen? And there's a lot of criticism of Notre Dame, but it's also an opportunity for us to highlight your program and get a chance to talk with you. For people that have never seen your team or don't know much about your team, what do you want people to know about you and your program at NIU?
You know, well, we talk about the hard way, and the hard way means doing things the right way. We're going to be gritty. We're going to be tough. We're going to be physical. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to be focused. And we're going to handle our business off the field as well, in the classroom. So we are a program that's going to try to do the right things in every aspect. And I truly believe if you can reach the person, you can reach the player. And so we're going to make sure we have great relationships. And when things get tough and uncomfortable, we're going to fall back to the relationships and the brotherhood and the bonds that we formed to get us through those moments.
Like you mentioned, you've been in the NFL before. You played for NIU. You've been their coach now for a while. So a lot of connections in the football community. You get a win like this, everyone reaches out. Just what are some of those messages from some people that maybe mean a little bit more in the last few days?
Yeah, no, first of all, to have all the MAC head coaches, a lot of them reach out to me and say, congratulations, that was huge. You know, we are competing for a championship in our conference, but, you know, we are, you know, we're happy for each other in the non-conference to represent our program. And then I'm a huge Yankee fan. I think everybody knows that. And Aaron Boone reached out to me on Sunday, and I thought that was unbelievable. I mean, that just, you know, for a guy from the East Coast, Jersey City, a Yankees fan through and through, and for him to reach out to me, hopefully I can reach back out to him after they win the World Series, because I did save his number.
That's awesome. How did he get in contact with you? Just wondering. Do you know?
Well, we got an alumni, Rick Cerrone, who's
sure.
He worked for the Yankees for a long time, and I'm sure he told him I was a huge Yankees fan.
Well, now you know the manager of the Yankees, so I don't think you need our help, but our company right down the hall is WFAN, the legendary sports talk radio station at the home of the Yankees. So if you need any tickets, Coach, just let us know. We can get you good seats right behind home plate.
Hey, I'm going to take you up on that. I promise you.
Let's go to a game. I'm definitely down when you have a little bit of an offseason. I know there's not much offseason now in college football, but would love to do it. So you talked about how confident your team was and where the belief was in your team as well. Just curious, Friday night before the game, what was the vibe like around your team, and what was your pregame chat like?
Well, I mean, it was an excellent vibe. You know, I wanted them to understand we were playing the 2024 Notre Dame Fighting Irish because I told them, I said, we're not Rocket Ismail is not running down the tunnel. And they looked at me in a look that, you know, led me to believe they didn't know who that was. So I said, hey, have you guys watched the movie Rudy? No hands went up.
Wow.
So, you know, I didn't have to worry about them being intimidated about the school and the nostalgia of Notre Dame. And so for us, it was very relaxed. They were confident. They knew we had a great week of preparation, and all we needed to do was handle the environment early. And we almost did not handle the environment early. Our first kickoff return, the young man let the ball bounce, and that almost turned into an ugly situation. But we were able to settle into the game nicely after that moment.
I think as a team, you guys have to watch Rudy, because that's the one movie that always makes my father cry. It doesn't matter. Whenever it's on, he's always crying like he's a big baby.
Listen, you thought my emotions after the game were tough. Rudy will make you Rudy will pull them heartstrings. I can promise you that.
And also, I have to personally thank you, because I always love when my producer can't have a good day. And he's a huge Notre Dame fan, and he walked in today, and he was absolutely miserable, Stu. So thank you for beating Notre Dame. We appreciate that. We had a lot of fun on the air with that one.
Thank you. No problem.
Last thing I'll ask you, I was reading a bit about Ontario Brown, your star running back who had almost 1,300 yards last year, and he's gone through some things that no young man should have to go through in life, with the loss of his mother and then also a very close friend as well. What kind of person is he, and how is your relationship with him? And just tell me a little bit more about him, because I was reading the story briefly.
Yeah, he's an unbelievable person. When you talk about dealing with adversity and coming out on the other side, he is the epitome of that message. He came here as a young man and has grown into a man. Our relationship is unbelievable. Obviously, I've coached running backs. I always have an extra eye on those guys. Some people think in our program I treat them like my son, but I love Ontario. I love how he's grown in our program, and I love the fact that he chose to stay with us for his senior year.
How did you get him to stay? Just wondering, because you see Ashton Genty at Boise State as well. Unfortunately, now when you're in a smaller program, you have success, you expect the player to get plucked by a bigger program. But how did you get him to stay with your program, especially after a monster season he had a season ago?
When he came to talk to me in December and told me some of his thoughts, I said, listen, you are a man now, and I have to respect, what decision you make. Obviously, I would love to have you come back. What we've been through and how we've grown together. And if you choose to, leave, like I said, you will always be one of ours. And, for a moment there, he said he was leaving. And then he called me back that night and said, you know what, Coach, I'm going to stay and stick it out with you. And I said, listen, I'm going to do everything in my power to give you an opportunity to reach all of your goals and aspirations. And that's all you can do.
And it obviously has paid off because, man, now he's on the map with what he did up against Notre Dame. And look what could have happened if maybe he went somewhere else. You never know how it's going to work out.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best kept secrets in America. And I'm glad he has a chance to start showcasing who he is and what he's about on a bigger stage.
You were with the Ravens from 2014 to 2018, so you have connections with the NFL. If they say, hey, why should we maybe take a flyer on him come April in the draft, just what would you say?
I would say he's better than guys that, have been drafted. He's better than guys that I've coached that have been drafted. He's a physical runner. He is faster than you think. He was a 10-7 guy in high school. He's 215 pounds with wiggle, great discipline, good vision. So it ain't many guys in the country that can do the things that he can do. And obviously he's shown his versatility as a pass catcher now. So it's just not many guys that have that type of size and speed and athletic ability to do things that he does with the ball in his hands.
Coach, heck of a win, heck of a story. Really appreciate your time. We'll connect on social media. We'll definitely get you some Yankee tickets. We'll get you some good seats for that. I don't think you'll need our help after a victory up against Notre Dame, but if we could do so, we will definitely take care of you. But Thomas Hammock, thank you for joining us, and once again, congrats on the victory.
Thank you, and go Huskies.